Hi, everyone. Welcome to the 3i Podcast. I'm Mike Longevin. With me today is Dr. Laura Hammack. She's superintendent of Beech Grove City Schools. She also serves as the president of the Indiana Association of Public School Superintendents and the vice president of the Indiana Urban Schools Association. Laura, welcome today.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be here.
Let's talk a little bit about your history. I know that you started out as a special ed teacher, then went general ed teacher, and have worked your way up in leadership.
Yeah. Gosh, my journey I have had kind of a crazy career path. I started in Brown County as a special education teacher, where I was working with students with significant disabilities, and really kind of autism spectrum disorder was like a new thing. I'm old enough that we were working with IU and really some incredible work that was happening in that space. And Brown County was looking at this new thing called inclusion.
Yeah.
Right. So back in the dark ages, we did not have our students with special needs sort of weaved into the gen ed population. And so we tried it for the first time, this inclusion model with sixth graders in a gen ed typical space. And so I taught sixth grade for 6 years, loved it, would never have left, but an incredible superintendent, Dr. Lynn Reed, encouraged me to really consider administration, which wasn't something that I was looking to at all. Ultimately, I became an elementary principal in Brown County serving for Dr. Reed. Quick opportunity happened where I could be assistant superintendent of Brown County and was assistant superintendent there, where I led curriculum and instruction work. At that time, I was getting my PhD from Indiana State, and I met Dr. Paul Kaiser, and then I moved up to Beech Grove to serve as his director of special education and ultimately his assistant superintendent. Would have stayed there forever, absolutely loved it, but Brown County had a superintendency open, and so I applied and became superintendent, served Brown County for 5 years, loved it very, very much. And it was only because Dr. Kaiser retired from Beech Grove that I was able to go back to Beech Grove as superintendent. So it's this weird career path of sort of Brown County, Beech Grove, Brown County, Beech Grove. And now I hope to be in Beech Grove forever.
Well, and Dr. Kaiser is currently superintendent at Westfield,
right?
So he unretired, and now my kids go to Westfield.
Wonderful.
So he's doing some great things in Westfield as well. So I know you are in Beech Grove. I mentioned in the intro that you're the president of the Indiana Association of Public School Superintendents. So tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What do you do there?
It's an incredible opportunity, one that I'm just so grateful for. So the association leads a number of different professional development activities, as well as really the advocacy work that they do at the State House. And so Dr. Taylor is our executive director, and he is just, it's a gift to work with him. He is a visionary and allows for us to provide feedback, and then, sort of he caters that to really execute on a state level. I think one of my favorite things about being in this role now is that I've been able to meet so many superintendents from across the state that I wouldn't have before.
Right.
I just love superintendents, and getting to know superintendents from across the state has allowed me to grow my own practice while simultaneously just applying it in the work that we're doing as an association.
Yeah, as the president, I assume it's really helped you build a strong network from you to pull from.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And you've actually been a superintendent in a rural district and more of an urban district.
Yeah.
What are the differences between the two?
They are so different in many, many ways. And I like to say that one is not better than the other by any means. I love both districts equally as much. I like to say that I, sort of like you do your children, right? You love them all the same. In Brown County, a very, very rural school district where we had significant financial challenges and so needed to make some really tough decisions. We had enrollment that was not growing. There were just a lot of different stressors that were happening. I navigated COVID with that community. And so it was impressive to see the way that community really rallied behind their school, because in a rural community, the school is everything, right? And there's a lot of sort of connection and pride between, how Brown County schools, sort of made Brown County unique. And then Beech Grove, what's so compelling? Brown County total population is about 15,000 residents. Beech Grove total population, 15,000 residents, but the geographical difference is just, huge, right? So we have 5 schools in Beech Grove and about 2,800 students. So that has been really exciting. The pace of being in Marion County is very different from being in Brown County. So media attention, very, very different, right? You're going to have much more of that in Beech Grove, where we didn't necessarily have that in Brown County. However, in Beech Grove, I don't have a weekly newspaper. That was a really wonderful way for me to be able to communicate in Brown County. Through that mechanism. I actually had a column down there and was able to, communicate, I think, even a little bit better with our community, something that we're always striving to do better in Beech Grove. Find ways to not only connect with the population that is our school community, but the community of Beech Grove itself. Really, really important for us to be able to do.
Yeah, I've talked with several people regarding just the importance of being a transparent storyteller and having conversations and sharing out what you're doing. What are the differences between your availability to form community partnerships between a rural and an urban? How do those differ in community partnership development?
Absolutely. I see a lot of similarities, to be perfectly honest, though the spaces are unique from each other. So in each community, it was very important for me as the school district leader to find the groups or the agencies that were key stakeholders in service of the school community. So, for example, in Brown County, the Rotary Club of Brown County, hugely just a group of change agents, just people, many retired businessmen, very successful people who now are kind of in that sort of phase of their lifetime where they are retired in Brown County, right? The Community Foundation in Brown County was a critical group, getting very close with municipality work in Brown County. So the county government, as well as the town of Nashville. The Sheriff's Department were a huge component of the work that we did down there. Whereas in Beech Grove, right, so I was kind of looking for like a Rotary Club, like what would be that in Beech Grove, because we didn't have one. So becoming involved in the Chamber of Commerce in Beech Grove, very important. I'm on the board there. And so ways in which we can leverage kind of school community partnerships has not only benefited our students hugely, right? But just being able to have the schools be a part of the conversation with a lot of the work that's happening on Main Street and ways in which we can add value to our community. Our mayor, kind of their moniker is that, a great city has great schools and great schools are in a great city. And so being in a community where that is valued and treasured has allowed for us to be able to get some really great things done in partnership with those agencies.
That's great. Well, and speaking of, I can tell you one big difference that I know personally is what Lilly's doing for Marion County right now. Lilly's giving back, $600 million to the schools in Marion County to try to, it's an investment for them.
Absolutely.
What's that like for you guys as you guys start having conversations? I'm sure you talk to other Marion County SUPs too.
Yeah. I think all of us, when the news broke and we learned of the investment, when the public learned of the investment, that over $600 million of Lilly Endowment's resources were going towards K-12 education in just Marion County. I mean, the scale of it is so significant. And I don't mean to sound dramatic here, because I really mean this. It's life-changing for us. So Beech Grove, obviously, we're a small urban school district in the middle of these larger MSDs. The endowment's vision has allowed for even smaller school districts to be able to leverage real resources that can be, like I said, sort of life-changing for the future of our district. And the vision behind the work, too, is to be able to sort of leverage 3 things. Number 1, to positively impact your student achievement, which we need.
Love it.
Second, to be able to advance opportunities for post-secondary success, so be it college or career. And then third, which I think is really compelling as far as their thinking, how do we intercess some of the outside factors that can negatively impact student achievement? So attendance, being able to break down barriers between home and school, some of the things that kind of can get in the way of bucket 1 and 2, right?
Right.
And so they've given us full flexibility to be able to ideate. We are going through a process where we are conducting focus groups with our community to get a better understanding of not just what we think these resources would do, but how our community really believes resources like this could be leveraged to really make a win for our kids.
So I guess shout out to Lilly for their investment in Marion County and the opportunities they're going to provide, hopefully, for Beech Grove.
Yes.
I can't tell you how much like that must mean for someone in your position to know that a company like Lilly is willing to back and invest in local community to grow their talent pipeline so that you can better prepare their workforce. So I love the opportunity of not only enhancing student achievement, but preparing them for that postgraduate life.
Absolutely.
So kudos to Lilly. That's awesome.
Incredible. I say this, it's so true. It is the greatest professional responsibility of my life.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's saying a lot because I know you've done some amazing things throughout your career.
Like, we are going to get this done. Absolutely.
I have the utmost faith that will be achieved under your leadership.
Everything's crossed, yes.
I also know that you have an amazing group of individuals because we've worked together at Beech Grove and we've done strategic planning. Mm-hmm. I appreciate the fact that not only the fact that you've done strategic planning with us and we did that stakeholder engagement piece for you and we pulled focus groups and we did all this, but you're circling back and going, hey, has anything changed so that we can better be equipped for this Lilly grant so we can see the changes that you want as a community? That's one of the things I've always admired about you is your ability to embrace your community. That's something that your peers actually will comment to me on is your ability to embrace people and build relationships. I'm just kind of curious as you continue down this path and you're building up your network and you're learning what other districts, is there one or two things that through your networking that you've seen like other districts do that you were like, wow, that's amazing. I want to bring something like that to Beech Grove?
Absolutely. In fact, that is probably, if I reflect on any success that we've had, it's not because anything has been novel, right? It's been because it's been researched or studied or connections have been made where we are able to learn and grow from each other. One of my favorite meetings that I have is a monthly meeting. It is kind of sacred for all of us. All of the Marion County superintendents, there are 11 of us, get together once a month. And we, sort of with vulnerability kind of share, some of the things that might be hard. And then we also celebrate the things that are going really well. So I can't even tell you how many times that I leave one of those sessions with takeaways that can be applied in Beech Grove like tomorrow. In Brown County, so in a rural community, we were really gifted to be members of an 11-county regional partnership. It's still very much in existence, the Regional Opportunity Initiative. Being a part of that group, which allowed for us to see the work happening in so many different school districts across that region, where we were really all kind of coalescing to be able to reinvent the way that we were doing education to better prepare our students for what was next. Now, to marry that with the work that's happening with the endowment, I'm seeing a lot of similarities there. So many, many ways in which we have studied other districts, other communities. One thing that we're actually replicating in Beech Grove that was such an unbelievable success in Brown County is our student-run business. So we had a advanced manufacturing business down in Brown County. Mm-hmm. We have replicated that in a student-run business now at our middle school. So
that's awesome.
Entrepreneurship, student ownership of their learning, from marketing to design and execution, right? Every step along the way, engineering, advanced manufacturing is extraordinary work.
But you guys are able to take that because you've built network, you've built relationships, mm-hmm. you've formed these partnerships with different community partners, and you've always had the mindset of being willing to take a risk. Mm-hmm. So I actually know a little bit more about your district, so I'll venture into this. One of the big risks that you took as part of your strategic plan that we worked with you on was changing your literacy approaches. Yes. I'd love to talk a little bit about the changes you did because you were a Fontes and Pinnell district.
We were.
And your scores were not showing what you wanted to see.
That's right.
And so one of your big initiatives over the last 2+ years at Beech Grove has been changing what literacy instruction looks like. Mm-hmm. Can you share a little bit about that?
Absolutely. Thank you for noticing. One of the things that was so disappointing when I came back to Beech Grove is that our student achievement data had really taken a nosedive. And for about 5 years, Beech Grove had doubled down on balanced literacy and kind of that Fontes and Pinnell model. Lots of investment of resources to that end. Teachers were working very hard on trying to understand the model, deploying the model with fidelity, and having no result. In fact, seeing, even after all of those efforts, like just this drop in student achievement and performance and growth, right? So my first year, of course, as a superintendent, you're not supposed to change anything. You're just supposed to sit back and listen and, sort of read the room and then try to identify the areas strategically for where you need to, make some adjustments. And quickly, we recognized, number one, that we had a real financial issue in Beech Grove that we had to do some work on. Second, that we were not okay with our student achievement data.
Right.
And that we needed to be doing some things differently. So we started to analyze what was happening. We knew that we needed some support in doing that work. We were blessed to partner with EES. Honestly, I see my conversation with you at South Grove as kind of a tipping point for when things started to change for us. So we knew we needed to do something different. We ideated in our strategic plan, our learning prioritization plan, that literacy was a key area that obviously needed some serious attention. Through some even doubled down work with having a complete literacy audit executed by your amazing team, it was never in my career have I been faced with a more urgent need to shift what we were doing. My nature is to be deeply collaborative, to get lots of feedback, to, kind of work processes and systems that allow for, results that make sense. But we so desperately needed, when we got our spring achievement data back, it took us about a month to know that we needed to make a serious investment in the science of reading and fundamentally shift our literacy model. So we did that over a summer. Simultaneously then recognizing that professional development needed to happen because you can get the great tools and resources, but without having the knowledge set behind those tools and resources, you're not going to get sort of the level, right, of response that we were looking for. So we had incredible work happening where we decided in partnership with your team that we needed to really double down on the PD offered to our administrative team and our instructional coaches, because without them having that foundation, then we wouldn't be able to leverage change in the classroom space. And so I'm just really pleased to share that because of this work, we're on our way. Our data finally, so after that first year of implementation, we started to see increases across the board in every single grade level. We like to benchmark against Marion County. We had been consistently performing at about 6th, 7th, 8th out of the 11 districts in Marion County. Last year, 8th grade, language arts, 2nd in Marion County. So they saw the most incredible growth. Actually, Beech Grove Middle School was honored by the National Institute for Excellence in Teaching as the sole recipient of their School of Promise Award, which is a national recognition for a school that has evidenced so much growth, that they are really showing promise for where they're yet to come. So we're on the way. We're not there yet by any means, but all of these different pieces, we believe, are working together to be able to get us back to 1, 2, and 3 in Marion County.
Well, I think it takes a courageous leader to be willing to, and I know you won't give yourself credit. I know the credit's you're going to filter it down to your people.
They're amazing.
And they are amazing. I've been in rooms with your instructional coaches, and I've had conversations with your principals. They're amazing. But I also want to take the time and say, you're a courageous leader that's willing to take bold risks, that's willing to step outside the box if it means it's best for Beech Grove schools and the kids that you serve.
You bet.
So I give you much respect for that. Did your time in a rural district with less resources help you with that transition?
Yeah, I think so. So one of the things that we joke about a lot, particularly in like our Marion County meetings, when you have the title of superintendent, depending on your application, your job can be wholly different, right? So many times I look at Dr. Sean Smith or Nikki Woodson or Jeff Butts, some of these superintendents of these massive MSDs, and the work that they do is extraordinary, right? But my work is different from their work, right? Because I am a superintendent of a smaller district. So there was a time when I was serving as special education director in addition to the superintendent. We just need to pick up all sorts of different, sort of roles or responsibilities. And I don't ever see myself in a super large district because I think that my skills are better applied in a smaller space.
Yeah. No, I get that. Yes. It's exciting to kind of see Beech Grove evolving and seeing the differences. So you had three big areas. One of them was literacy. Another one was really focused on postgraduate success.
Absolutely.
So what that makes me think of is you've already been doing the work to move towards that Lilly grant that you talked about when you think about those different buckets and you're talking about entrepreneurship. I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
So I appreciate the idea that I want my kids to learn how to be entrepreneurs. Absolutely. I think we need stronger sense of entrepreneurship within our K-12 environment right now. What's that like?
One of the compelling components is we've really needed to rely on community agencies to help with donations and with partnerships. And seeing our local businesses coming in and working with our students to, for example, we have an amazing group. They're called Crossroads Engineers. That's an engineering firm located in Beech Grove. They made a huge donation of one of these massive, gigantic printers, right? That you can do banners and, all sorts of things for any kind of marketing. They came in, taught our students how to use it, and now then the students have that skill set, right? So that's one example of every device that we have in that space. We have had partners come in, teach the students, and then now students are actually creating products that then the community, they're purchasing. So they're creating those products, and then we have, of course, our purchasing team. We have a shipping team, and they package everything up, and all the invoicing, all of that happens, out of this space. So Main Street in Beech Grove has been an unbelievable partner in this work, and then simultaneously, we are creating product that then is going out into our community.
Wow.
It's just been such a win-win for our kids.
So it's end to end. So you're starting all the way with design, working through production, shipping.
Yes.
Wow.
Some of our students, they had an idea to make Beech Grove Hornet jewelry, right? They started with prototypes and earrings, right? And so then necklaces, and some were horrible. And when I came, we actually had our board come, and they did, kind of a presentation as we did our ribbon cutting. They showed the ones that didn't work. Right. They were like, these are awful. And I'm like, well, why did you keep these? And they're like, because this is the reminder that what we have now, that this is where you started. And it's okay to have, failures, because they said we're on the way, right? When you have those things. So amazing work, right? Like, we're understanding through earrings that you can have mistakes, but ultimately those allowed for us to get to this win, which is so, when you're 11, I mean, how great.
And here's the one thing. So my company works with a lot of schools that are working on becoming STEM certified.
Yes.
So that's been a big area for us. And one of the things that I've noticed in the STEM world, just in education in general, we say, oh, we're going to do project-based learning. We're going to do projects and things like this. Yeah. What I love about what you just said is, one, the projects and entrepreneurship opportunities are real-world applications, number one.
Absolutely.
But the core element that I think you're doing exceptionally well is giving them opportunities to reiterate.
Yes.
So what's happening oftentimes when we start with a STEM school is they do a project, they say, here it is, and they have like a little science fair or different things like that.
Sure.
But what we actually need our kids doing more, in my opinion, and what we're seeing more frequently in some of the schools we're working with, is the idea that we're going to reiterate this. So we're not going to just do it one time, get it great, and move on, but we're going to do it, get feedback, engage in that cycle, have peers collaborate with us on how to strengthen it, and then reiterate it, and then have another feedback cycle, and then reiterate.
Absolutely.
I love the fact that you'd rather go deep into intentionally focusing rather than just jump from project to project. So that's kudos to your people.
Yeah. Amazing to see.
So as we move forward and you start thinking, what's the big thing you're excited about with Beech Grove? Besides the Lilly Grant, besides the entrepreneur.
I am so excited about the conversations that we're having about what high school is going to look like, right?
Oh.
So pretty significant changes that are being considered right now at the state level regarding diploma requirements. And As someone who really likes routine and structure, it challenges me, right, to think that a school day might be super different than what we are looking at now. But it's inspiring to think about ways in which we can engage all students. We have many students at Beech Grove High School. We have many students in Brown County High School who knew how to do school, right? They would come, they would do school, they would get good grades, and they would move on. And there was a significant percentage of both student populations where doing school wasn't necessarily their jam, right? They just weren't great at it, but we didn't have anything else. What is compelling is to really think about how we can provide an experience that is authentic within the confines of Beech Grove High School, that simultaneously allows for students to be engaged somewhere else too. Work settings that matter, work settings that really are aligned to what a student is thinking about for their next step. And something that we've identified as being really important in this, and it can't be lost, is that I also don't expect 9th or 10th graders to know exactly what they want to do when they graduate.
I agree.
But how fun if we can really have some flexibility that allows our students to go out to fail, to try to, kind of iterate something that might not be their thing and know that, right? And then redirect into something that might be a better fit. Like those are, so setting kind of onboard, offboard ramps really important to us. We're not really sure what this is going to look like yet, but how we can marry, maybe this new diploma with what kind of opportunities we can offer our kids.
Well, there's a lot of, there's been some animosity towards the high school redesign.
Sure.
And there's been some public backlash, and they've stepped back from certain things, and they've retaken more stakeholder engagement opportunities to try to move forward. But I will say Indiana is trying to set a trend within this nation. Indiana is moving forward. They're thinking about what does postgraduate success really mean.
Right.
So that's exciting.
It is exciting. Absolutely. Yeah.
As you start to kind of think about that, though, and you start to think about how Beech Grove High School will change, what does that do for a K-12 continuum for Beech Grove?
So backwards planning from a developmental point of view, what we're looking at is at the middle levels, having that be an immersive experience where engagements with startups and entrepreneurial firms, and then also what has been happening that we really celebrate is then taking students in small scale, so not all of the 8th graders, but groups of students to universities. So getting them out while simultaneously having folks come in. And then looking at our intermediate level of kind of the career exploration space where you're beginning to self-identify what my skills and the things that I do well might be and how certain jobs and opportunities might align, really exposing students to careers that in more of a did you know, kind of idea. So that's kind of like intermediate space because they're then developmentally at a space where, oh, that might connect for me. I find that interesting, right? They're doing that. And then from kind of our pre-K through grade 4 sort of model, that's really, learning about my community and what are the jobs in my community, right? So from a pre-K, K-1 perspective, you're learning about kind of in Beech Grove, you have a police department, you have a fire department, you have a mayor's office. And so really understanding where my place is in my community. So it's genuinely a backwards plan from kind of like getting out there all the way down to pre-K where we're learning that these things are relevant because.
I love that you're basically saying, hey, kids, dare to dream because opportunities are out there.
Absolutely.
And we're going to show you and give you the tools and the resources to imagine what your dream might be someday as you leave.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Well, I end every episode with, over the next 12 months, what are you professionally most excited about?
It's this Lilly grant.
Yeah.
Everything is dedicated towards it because it is the supporting foundation of our learning prioritization plan. So we don't imagine straying from that work at all, right? We know we still need focus on literacy. We didn't talk much about mathematics and numeracy, but boy, that's another real hot spot for us. And problem solving and thinking and, all of that work, right? And then preparing for post-secondary success. So the vision in Beech Grove is we want Beech Grove City Schools to be a place where all students believe that education is the way to change their world, right?
Yeah.
And so how can we leverage these resources for students to truly believe that this thing that they do all day, every day matters, right? And so it all ends towards that.
It's amazing. Thank you for your time.
Thank you so much.
No, I appreciate it.